The 4 astronauts of the Axiom 3 mission are getting ready to launch to the International Space Station. The 3rd private astronaut mission is set to head to the orbiting outpost on board a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft named Freedom, which will launch from Historic Launch Complex 39A. Before the crew departs the planet, half for the first time, let's get to know the astronauts of the Ax-3 mission. Mission specialist Marcus Wandt will be making his first trip to space of any kind. Like many Europeans who came before him, he's flying the European Space Agency flag and has been training hard since his selection as part of the astronaut class of 2022. However, he's representing a new type of astronaut for ESA. Wandt is a member of ESA's so-called reserve pool of astronauts. In a nutshell, Wandt is not a career astronaut who's a full-time employee of ESA, but rather one of 11 who may get opportunities to fly to space through commercial ventures. Wandt, through the backing of Sweden, was granted a ticket to ride through this opportunity provided by Axiom Space.
Being a part of pioneering a new way for Europe to gain access to space and to increase the frequency and the presence of not only European presence, but also European science and the benefit for what we can do here on Earth, and that brings everyone forward.
Before becoming a member of the astronaut reserve, Wandt served in the Swedish Air Force as a fighter pilot and a test pilot. Having served his country for more than a decade, he said this was a pivotal time for Sweden's flag to fly on the ISS once again.
Sweden is celebrating 500 years of independence this year, the 6th of June, 1523. Gustav Vasa was selected the King of Sweden by an assembly in Strängnäs, 59 kilometers west of Stockholm. And after his election, Sweden left the Kalmar Union with Denmark and Norway, making Sweden an independent country, which has been ever since.
The distinction is noted in the mission patch with the 500 at the base of it. The 100 that's across it represents the other mission specialist on this Ax-3 flight, Alper Ghazara. Like Sweden, Turkey is also marking an important anniversary, its centennial. And like Wandt, Gezeravcı also served his country's Air Force as a fighter pilot. He spent 15 years flying several types of aircraft and served as the Standardization Squadron Academic Wing Commander. He says that training was a key primer to becoming an astronaut.
As a fighter pilot, we have already went through several years long hard training, both physically and mentally, how to handle different scenarios in both normal, as well as emergency conditions. So having this experience and being able to reflect this into the space-related trainings that we have been going through for the last 5.5, almost 6 months long period, it really gave all of us the chance to be able to reflect that experience and the knowledge and how to handle all the new information and the training that we need to digest.
44-year-old Gezeravcı is the first astronaut from Turkey. He applied for the role among 36,000 others and was one of just 30 who was called up to the Turkish capital of Ankara for the final approval. It's a responsibility that he says is not only important to the country, but also to him as someone who long dreamed about being among the stars.
As a person who had to limit his dreams all the way from beginning relating to the space, and which was limited with the sky that I could see with my bare eyes, that is not a result for our future generations. Now their path is open, and this space flight is not a destination of our journey. This is just the beginning.
Gezeravcı isn't the only member of this quartet who's finally living out his spacefaring dreams. So too is the Ax-3 pilot, Walter Villadei. Unlike his 2 mission specialist crewmates, Viade has considerably more experience training to become an astronaut. He's currently a colonel in the Italian Air Force and oversees its commercial spaceflight initiatives here in the US. His flight to the ISS also comes during the centennial celebration of the Italian Air Force.
It's very important to us because it's an important opportunity to really celebrate and recall the core values of our armed forces, which is the commitment in defense of our country and our allies, but also the professionalism of people that every day is devoting and serving the country in trying to do their best in the job they have, and of course the passion of flying.
Moreover, back in 2011, he went through cosmonaut training in Star City, Russia, in the hopes of launching to space on board a Soyuz someday. In a similar vein to ESA's astronaut reserve approach, Viade says it's important to create these new pathways for more people to get to space.
The partnership with Axiom is right away proving that the world is changing. We are really opening up to a new phase, the commercial space flight, the exploitation of the LEO Earth orbit. So whatever and all the things we are doing as an Air Force, first of all, to increase our skills and competencies in the aerospace.
In preparation for this mission, Viade also had the opportunity to fly a suborbital space flight with another commercial provider, Virgin Galactic.
It's definitely a nice platform to test and to strengthen all these training capabilities. So I would say that definitely, in my view, is an added value to put together this combination of different flights. And on top of that, I would say that I think it's really interesting to use this platform to test some preliminary experiments that then afterwards we can scale up and let them fly on ISS.
While Viade certainly gained a lot of experience on his path to this mission, by far the most prepared Ax-3 crew member is its commander, Michael López-Alegría. Preparing for just one mission to space is sometimes a feat only achieved once in a lifetime. But for Commander López-Alegría, this will be his 6th distinct trip to orbit. Only 4 others have launched 7 or more times. It's a record he may achieve before too much longer, as he and former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson are currently the only 2 who share the responsibility of commanding these private astronaut missions.
So I would say that we have some plans in the future to expand our astronaut corps to meet the demands. But for right now, the 2 of us are able to share the load quite nicely, and it's I don't have to tell you, it's quite a privilege to be able to fly to space this often, especially at this point in our careers.
LA, as many call him, began logging hours in space with STS-73 back in 1995.
And liftoff of the Space Shuttle Columbia.
He notched 2 more space shuttle flights and a trip aboard a Russian Soyuz before retiring as a NASA astronaut. He's also in a small club of 9 people who have flown in 3 different spacecraft at launch, now that he's added a SpaceX Crew Dragon to his resume. He says even though his experience in space is far beyond that of his crewmates, they're more than ready for this next leap.
If it isn't evident, it's really fortunate that this is an amazingly prepared crew. I mean, I think this is, for a private astronaut mission, it's exceptional, but really for any mission, the level of training and experiences that these folks bring to our crew is really remarkable. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing that put into practice when we get to orbit.
And while preparing for a mission is a rigorous process once, let alone 6 times, it's a tall task that Mike L.A. says he doesn't want to give up anytime soon.
It never gets old. I mean, I think I have more appreciation with every launch that approaches. I think you put some of these things in the rearview mirror and it helps you put them in perspective. And, you know, the first time you go, you're just sort of hanging on for dear life and enjoying the ride. But I think you appreciate each one a little bit more, especially when you realize just how rare an opportunity it is. So I'm happy to keep doing this. Axiom would definitely like to continue doing private astronaut missions. We'll probably have other commanders in the future, but as long as they ask me to fly, my hand will be raised.
Reporting for Spaceflight Now, I'm Will Robinson Smith.